Okay, at this point we have added a list to our basic view app, and somebody's yelling at the screen going, Brent, something's not right. If I click over here to design, notice I've got the action bar with the title, I've got the list, but I don't see that label. Brent, where's the label? Well, what's happening is the layout Flex gives you the opportunity to lay out components based on certain settings. So for example, right now it's set what we would call an absolute layout, which means that as you add components within the view, it's placing them on top of each other, and it's expecting you to define exactly the X and Y coordinates. Right now it's defaulting to 0, 0, and so it put the label down first at 0, 0, and then it put the list down. Now when I say 0, 0, what I mean is, switching back over here, this action bar is currently on top, and the point of origin is going to be right here below the action bar. Now there are ways to hide the action bar if you want, and then that way everything would fit the view. But for our purposes, we want to leave it where the action bar shows. But notice what's happened, and if I click and drag, hey, there's our label. All right, I'm going to undo. Let's go ahead and fix this. Click over to source. And to fix this, we want to set the layout property, and we can do that by adding another tag. We'll just call this layout tag, and within that we're going to have a vertical layout, and we can even have some padding so there's space between the top and bottom. We could do all sorts of things. So it's padding is the property, and we're just going to say top, and we'll give it 10 pixels. Go ahead and close the tag like so, and go ahead and click save. Now when we switch over to design view, lo and behold, we see the label. We have the label and we have the list. Now you can customize this, of course. You can, select the label, and you could add padding within the layout. So let's say we could do, the thing about padding, you have to be careful where you place it. If you put padding in the parent, so for example, if we put padding to the left here, we say left and we say 10 pixels. Notice what happens, it's moved everything 10 pixels. So be aware of that. See, what we did is we accidentally changed the padding to the layout, which affects everything on the screen. So let's undo that. Let's not put padding here. We could put padding on the label. So you could say, padding. Every time I say padding, I think Paddington Bear. Do you ever read those books? Me neither. All right, padding left, and let's say 10 pixels, and see how that looks. Now, this ain't no design course. All I'm going to do, I just want to show you the basics. So obviously, there are things you can do to change that. All right, let's talk about this title. Click back over to source, and someone is also pointing at the screen saying, Brent, it's right there, it's right there. That's right, this is called the title, and in the title, we can change that. It just defaulted to the name of the file when we created it. So let's say cool people, and go ahead and save that and switch over to design view, and now it says cool people, and it says choose a cool person, and then we have the list. All right, click back over to source, and let's talk about these other views. How do we get from this view? Remember, in the basic view app, the first view is this one right here, the user list. So this is where we start. Well, in order to switch to these other views, we need to add some code and call them. So to do that, first thing we need to do is set up a change event. We want to listen for when the list has been clicked and something's been selected. And so to do that, we're going to go ahead and add a property. That's a method called change, and we're going to call Now, check this out. We're going to click this Generate Change Handler. Go ahead and click that. And Bob's your uncle. And it's added the user list underscore change handler. So this is another cool feature of Flash 4.5 where it has this code generation. Notice that it created user list change handler. It took the name of the component, says change handler, and then event, and then it's passing in the index change. And look, isn't that cool? And what's funny is I do have an uncle named Bob, so it's a coincidence, really coincidental. I didn't realize that would happen. Okay, so now at this point, what we want to do is pass in a reference to the view. We want to load the next view, and the next view is going to be the user profile, and the user profile will contain more details. So for now, the method we're calling is navigator. Now you're saying to yourself, Brent, where'd you come up with this? I don't see that. The method is called push view, and the view we want to push is views dot, and remember it's user profile. That's the view we want to push, and then we can pass in, notice here, and I know it's a little difficult to see, but we have push view. This is the code hinting, and it tells us what this method is expecting. We have the view class, we have a data object, we have a context, and a transition. And that's it. It just says void at the end over here. So for our purposes, we want to pass in some data. And I will explain more on how to pass in data and what to do with that data. But for now, let's just go ahead and pass in the index of what was selected. So the name of the list is user list, and the property is selected index, because I want to know, actually I take that back, we don't want the index, we want the item itself. My bad. We wanted that guy right there, selected item. Now at this point, what we've done is set up the list so that when you click a selected item, it's going to call this method, and it's going to push the user profile view and pass in the object from that selected item. And in the next tutorial, we'll show you how to set up the user profile and to take the data that was passed in and how we switch from this view to the next view.